Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillah. I'm gonna make a 4 part video short series, basically, inshallah, to try to address all the new students coming into WSU and wherever else they might be, inshallah. This is gonna be for my Dawa page that I have, Islam, Said's Islamic Dawa, Saied Dawa Islam, I think that's what it is. Sorry, but anyway, the point is the videos that we're going to be posting. So the first one, I'm titling it called Dunya's Web. The second one is going to be advice for brothers, and the third will be advice for sisters, and then the fourth will be advice from Saied, another good Muslim brother, alhamdulillah, goes to the masjid here in Pullman. But just to talk about this first piece for you guys, just a general idea about what the Dunya's Web is. And so just to start, basically the Dunya's Web, if you want to think about it, to start off, I'd like to say it's going to be something that's going to be addictive. And what would you define as an addiction? What I'm going to use as a definition for an addiction is this: anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made haram for us, you can bet your bottom dollar and promise yourself that that's going to be an addictive thing for you. You can't just think of addictive things as far as, you know, standard things we're all used to, like, oh, you know, obviously drugs are addictive, whatever, alcohol, you know. You got to think a little deeper sometimes. You know, that's why it takes a little bit more of a deeper knowledge in this religion to kind of actually understand, you know, life on a deeper level. And that's why we should be deep studiers of Islam, people that actually take our religion seriously and spend time, serious time in our lives, especially when we're young. This is actually the time when you're going to really need to develop your Islamic knowledge to carry you through your older age, not try to learn your deen at the last minute, like you do for a test. You don't want to crunch this thing, you know. That's not the way you want to go about it. You're actually going about it the wrong direction. You don't want to crunch your life as far as your deen is concerned. You want to start young. You're young, you're in your youth, you have a lot of energy, you know, your mind is operating, you know, on a lot, you know, more stronger levels. There's just a lot more development there for you at this time. So what you do in your youth is actually spend time getting as close to Allah as you can, not running away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then hoping one day He's going to catch you at the end. I mean, it's kind of like we kind of go about it backwards if you really think about it. But I'll address that in the next videos. What I want to talk about is, you know, to mention things that will become addictive to you is everything that Allah made haram. For instance, going to these social gatherings where even if you're not going to drink, but there's going to be music playing, there's going to be the intermixing of the females and the males, you know, where they're really interacting with each other on a playing field where there's no boundaries. That kind of interaction right there is going to be a whole different interaction between males and females than when you're out, even at the office, or when you're out, you know, during school and class. You know, you're in a place now where the party's happening and there's no holds barred, and now everybody is basically unleashing, with alcohol involved, of course, and drugs involved, of course. You know, they're unleashing all the things that you normally have inhibitions against. Now let me ask you this: why do you think Allah in our nature placed inhibitions, right? Why do we feel these things that keep us, you know, shy and keep us reserved to a certain extent, especially when you're dealing with the opposite sex? Why are they there? And then why do we take these substances to remove them? Think about that. Allah put this barrier. It's a wall. It's a protection. Your shyness and your manners and your natural tendency, right? When you deal with just people in general, but especially with people of the opposite sex, is something there saying, I don't act exactly the same with you than I do with, people that I know and grew up with or my family. Those protections are there for a reason. You shouldn't be so comfortable and open with, first of all, people you don't know, but second of all, with the opposite sex. You understand? So what you're getting addicted to now is this. You're getting used to now having this flirtation conversation with these people, right? And now you're getting to the point where that's gonna be basically the only thing that can actually satisfy you on a social level, because it's more exciting. You understand what I'm saying? You're changing your nature. Each day that you travel in your life is going to be a day that shapes your heart, because you're basically a mold. And so if you're going to strip yourself of all the protections that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you naturally, and you're going to strip that from you and adopt an aggressive behavior, and you're going to adopt, a behavior that doesn't really promote yourself being the natural way Allah created you, especially as a female. Now, when one day you're saying, okay, I want to worship Allah now, I want to be a good Muslim. Damn, this doesn't seem exciting though. Damn, this is not what I'm used to. Well, you've kind of created a monster, man. You understand? And this monster needs to feed. It's something now, it's tasted so much. And you think you've grown. That's not actually real growth. Yeah, and to one extent you can call it maybe a bit of growth. I'm not going to deny it completely. But really, you could have grown in a whole completely different way. Do you not think the people that are practicing the religion of Allah are growing as well? But they're just growing in a different direction. You understand? And the way you're growing yourself, it's becoming that of an addict. You need to feed now the level of excitement that you're used to. And that doesn't equate to peace. You understand? So for you to find peace now, because all you've done is kind of rub up against all these energies that are way more exciting. When you're with people that are partying and people that are getting into all of this boisterous activity, you understand? You're going to get used to that. Now, that's the only thing that can satisfy you. You're trapped, man. This is a serious chain you're wrapping around your own neck. Instead of just taking it easy, you see what I'm saying? And enjoying what Allah made halal, you could have grown in a whole different direction in your life. Now, you went the way you went. You disregarded the deen. You said, I know what I'm doing. I'm a big human intellectual person. Allah doesn't really know what he's talking about. I mean, you never said that directly in your head, but that's kind of what you're saying. Or you're attributing it to those religious people that are following these books, don't know what they're talking about. They're from some old backwards way of life. You understand? I would advise you to kind of respect knowledge, man. Seriously, respect the wisdom, not just of the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but respect the wisdom of the scholars. Respect the wisdom of the people who were trying to teach you about your religion. They're in your community. They're your parents. They're people that have gone past through this life, and they're advising you. Take advice from actually some elders in your life too. Don't just think that these young people that are advising you, that are doing everything wrong completely, and they're Muslims too a lot of times. Yeah, they can relate to you better. That's why they have an inside track a lot of times. They're telling you what you want to hear, but it's almost all the time going to be bad advice. They're going to trap you into Dunya's web. They're going to bring you right down that road, and you're going to become a changed person, and I've seen it many times. And you know what a lot of Muslims do that they tell themselves? I'm going to change one day in the future. One day, when I reach to this level, they're in their 20, they're 25, I'm going to change. 30 years old, subhanAllah, can you see 40-year-olds? They're reaching 50, I'm going to change when this happens. It's Dunya's web, man. It's a trap. It's nothing but a game being played upon you. And don't think you're the first one to think you're living this lifestyle that's against Allah and you're the first generation to do it. We have been in a dismal position for so many years as Muslims. And there's no other reason for it except for the fact that they're doing exactly what you're doing now. They traded their youth, the most important time, the most crucial time in your life to get close to Allah. It's the greatest time of your greatest years of your life. If we don't give those years to Allah, catastrophe, period. Catastrophe in your life, catastrophe in the Ummah's life, catastrophe for the Ummah. That's all we've been experiencing is catastrophe. Yeah, the fun will be there. You're going to enjoy these moments. I'm not going to lie to you. Don't think, it's not tempting for every human being to do what Allah said don't do, to eat the apple. The apple is, it's sweeter when you first bite into it, but its bitterness is coming so soon afterwards. It could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now. You're committing all these sins, and you're not even really making tawbah for them. You understand? Tawbah requires sincerity. Sincerity requires that you actually stop doing this. The problem is, you've gotten so deep into it now, into this lifestyle Allah has forbidden, you can't walk away. You're addicted to it. You need these men in your life to excite you now. You need these women in your life to excite you now. Now you want to get married. Okay, you got married. Oh shoot, it's not doing it for me no more. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran that the pure men are for the pure women. Why do you think He says that? Allah doesn't want one of His virgin women that protected themselves their whole life, that took care of themselves, that stayed away from haram, and then she marries this dude that's been with who knows what. And now all of a sudden he can't even appreciate that anymore. You're used up, man. Don't get used up in this world. Preserve yourself. Take it easy. Find entertainment, but find it in a halal means. That way you're not gonna go all out. But you know what? In the long run, spiritually, day by day, throughout your days, you're gonna find a lot more meaning in your life. You're gonna find a lot more blessings in your life. You're gonna find a lot more in this life that most people will never see. It won't have maybe those super high exciting moments, but there'll be way higher spiritual moments. And actually, when you reflect, or I reflect on my life, subhanAllah, Allah guided me to Islam, and I had a time in the dunya, and that was what His plan was for me. However, I don't remember like the greatest party I went to. I mean, those days, honestly, of enjoyment, they just seem all mashed into periods. You understand? But I can recall the time when I was in the masjid, and this one was in Orlando, Florida, and I'm reading the Quran, and I believe it was actually during Ramadan, and subhanAllah, my spirit raised to such a high level, I had to just go take a break. I couldn't maintain myself. I mean, I remember the time when, I'm praying in front of the Kaaba, and I'm just ready to visit Allah. I can recall, these are specific moments. I have exact recollection of these times. But these were real times of blessing that you're going to remember in your life, or you met this person, and I can remember conversations I've had. But honestly, parties, when times were, specific times where, you're out and you're in these environments, I don't remember any of that. There's no specific time I really cared about. You understand? And that's just the result right there. That's the results. That's the difference between applying your life to something truly worthwhile, applying your life to truly something that Allah has blessed, Allah has given you a barakat in doing, and applying yourself in the way of the shaitan. The way of the shaitan, Allah said, if you want to go that direction. My crutches keep trying to fall down. Twisted my ankle. The thing is if you go in the path of the shaitan, subhanAllah, it's waiting for you and it's calling for you. But once you make friends with that environment, leaving is going to be the biggest problem you're going to have. And the stuff you do during that time is going to follow you in your life. There's so many detriments. I can't even get started. I can't even imagine how many detriments are in the path of the shaitan. You have a loss of your reputation. You have a loss of your good deeds. You have a collection of your evil deeds. You have addictions now that are going to sit in your heart for the rest of your life. That's your fault. Even if you get lucky enough and Allah forgives you for all the times you forgot to make tawbah, do you think that is even going to happen? Allahu Alam, man. What if you've collected all these deeds, you forgot about them, right? But Allah didn't forget, because Allah doesn't forget. On the Day of Judgment or in your grave, you still have problems to deal with. Do you understand how severe that is? I mean, it's sad, but the hereafter doesn't really apply so much when you speak to the youth. It really takes a lot for them to understand that everything you do in this life is going to collect. It's collecting. It's not going anywhere. And you're going to deal with this stuff when you die. And you're going to stand before Allah one day, and you're going to regret to death that you ever did any of that. Rasul said that one of the 7 people that's going to stand in the shade of the throne of Allah on the Day of Judgment, a day that's for the disbeliever, for the sinning Muslims, for the ones who left their deen behind them. It's going to feel every minute of that 50,000 years. But for the mu'min, for the one who really embraces deen, it's going to feel like 2 rak'ats of Fajr Salat. But you got to think, Rasul said, one of those 7 people that's going to stand in the shade of the throne of the day, on the Day of Judgment, when the sun's very close, is the youth. The youth who, what did he do? He worshipped Allah his whole life, and he never went into the path of the shaitan. Think about that. You're not going to care about all these things that you find so important to you that are making you disrespect Allah, that are making you break His commands, that are making you, like the shaitans that you're running with. You understand? You're not going to care about that at all. And even later in your life, you're not going to care about that either. You're going to not even care about these people. All these relationships that are so important to you, if they're not based on the love of Allah, they're all going to break. Trust me, they always do. It never fails. You're not going to even like these people pretty soon. A few years, you're going to be like, I can't even stand that person. It's hard to keep a relationship in this world. But anyway, I don't want to get too much deeper. It's a very long video already. I mean, I can talk forever. I'm going to stop. I hope I wasn't too long, but I hope I delivered something to you that will help you just kind of sober up a little bit and kind of wake up a little bit, inshallah. And may Allah guide us to His path, and just give us a wake-up call, inshallah, and really invest our lives into something that's going to develop into something prosperous, and turn our religion around, man. Turn our world around. We could do it, inshallah. At the very least, you could turn your own world around. May Allah guide us, inshallah. Ameen.